All right, welcome back to our graphics design tutorial with Power Babaniyi. Uh, it's good to know that you've come this far. Now we're now in shapes. Before this, we've talked about alignment, we've talked about cropping, we've talked about resizing of images, we've talked about colors, we've also talked about layers and adjustment. And before this, we talked about blending modes on typography. So today we'll be showing you something different called shapes. Now, in Photoshop, you can attach different shapes of different types to Photoshop. So let's go straight to our Photoshop and let me show you how to do that. Now, we'll be working with our Hello World and this document. So let me just go ahead and highlight all this image. To do that, I'm dragging my mouse. I'm clicking anywhere on the surface. I click it, hold it down, and drag the mouse. It's going to create. I'll make sure the mouse covers everything. Yeah, and I release the mouse, and I come and say Ctrl T to highlight all. I press my alternate key, and I resize them. Right? You see that it's not resizing evenly, so I can do my Ctrl Z, click Shift and Alt, and resize them evenly together. So let me carry this a bit up and drop it here. Now, how do we append a shape or attach a shape to the work? So you come to this tool, to your tool panel. You see this place is called the rectangle tools. That is because rectangle is selected. If it's not selected as rectangle, it will either be an ellipse or a triangle or a polygon or a line or a custom shape tool. So let's go from one. We have the triangle tool. Now, how do you draw the triangle tool? By default, if you come to the canvas and you click anywhere on the canvas, it will bring out this panel to tell you to create a rectangle. What is the width? What is the height? Do you want a radii? That is, do you want the edges to be curved? And how do you want it, from center or from the edge? So let us say we want to create a box of 500 width by 300, so that would be like a rectangle. 300. I don't want the corners to be curved. Let me click OK, and we see we have it like this. We can simply press Escape or V to remove the transformation tool away, and we can see what the shape is looking like. Let me zoom it out. We can see what the shape is looking like. So I'll take this, drag this shape and put it in one side. I come back to the canvas, click the canvas again, and come back to my shape tool, click on it. You can either put your rectangle tool or press U to bring out the rectangle tool. So I press my U, and I click on it. And now this time around, I want to create another one that is 500 by 300, but I want the edges to be curved. So if I click down this thing, if I click down this place, it means it's going to affect everything that is here. The four corners will be evenly distributed. So there are two ways to do it. I can come here and manually type, I want it to be 10 pixels round. That is one way. Or I simply come to either of these sides. Either I come to this one, I come to this one, I come to any one, and I drag it forward. Dragging it forward means highlighting forward, increasing. Dragging it backward means reducing. So I drag it forward, let's say to let me reduce it to say 50. Okay, 50. Let's refuse it to stop 50. I click on OK and I click on V. Now you can see that the edge of this is more curved. Let me go ahead and zoom them out. I can see that the edge of this is more curved than the edge of this. Now, what else can I do from here? I can also create a third image. I press my U, and another way to draw your image is I click on my shift, or anywhere on it. I can click on anywhere on the canvas, click on it, and start creating my shape by dragging it or dragging it depending on how I want it to be. So let me go ahead and drag it this way, and we have this shape. Notice that by default, as I drag the shape, this panel over here pops up, the property panel. If you don't have the property panel in your own Windows, do not fear. I will show you how to add it. Press your V to remove the transformation. Come to Windows. When you get to Windows panel, you scroll down, you see properties, and click on properties, and it's going to be appended to the right side here. So that's how we have it. Now in our properties panel, it's showing us the width, the height, the degrees of transformation, and it's also showing us the appearance, that is the fill and the stroke. Now what is a stroke? The stroke is a line around an image. What is the fill? The fill is the color that composes or consumes an image. So if I come and click on the fill, you see we have our color panels. These are predefined colors that I have used before. That is why it's showing there. Any color you recently used will be here. So I can come ahead and open RGB. I can see other colors. Click on CMYK, see other colors, grayscale, see colors, and so on and so forth. So let me go ahead and make it YouDevHub custom color. I have this blue. I click on it and we see the blue, and I can go ahead and make my stroke. Click on the stroke, make it this other color for YouDevHub, but you do not see it because it is very faint. So for us to increase the stroke, we can come to this point, right, and increase the point here. So we can see the stroke has increased. So let's make it a moderate stroke. Let's say this, right? And that is it for the appearance and the image transformation. So we can come ahead, let me minimize this, come back here, come to this image, Ctrl T, hold down Shift to adjust it, either increase it fully, evenly distribute, or click on Alt to alter the image this way. And I'm trying to make a passport sized image. So I just click on it normally and drag the edges, and I've created my passport sized image, and I'm putting it in the middle. Yeah. So we can see it, and let me zoom it out. We have it like this. That is all for rectangle images. Now let me go ahead and check the other shapes we have. Now we come here and right click, we click on our ellipse tool. The same way, if you click on it, it's telling us I want to make a width of this by this. Let's go ahead and say 700 by 200. Let's see how that looks like. Okay, it creates it like this. Note that by default, it is bringing out the setting used for the last image, which is putting the stroke and the color and the fill. That's what it will do. It will bring out the settings for the other one. So by default, you can come again, Ctrl T to highlight it, and just drag it to adjust the shape to whatever shape you want it to look like, whatever size you want it to look like, and that is it. So the second way is to click on the shape, hold your shift and drag it. What that does is that it makes sure you make a perfect image, either a perfect circle or a perfect square or a perfect rectangle. So you have it like this, and you can have it like this. Let me Ctrl T and reduce it to be something like this. Okay, then the next one we have is the triangle. If you click on it by default, it's telling you want to make a width of 100 by 100. Is there an equilateral triangle you want to make? what is the corner radius. So let's say the corner radius is 20. Let's say it's an equilateral triangle, and I click on this. Okay, it's quite small, so I'm going to have to drag it big. And we can see that we have, if it shows this matching ant selection, press Ctrl D to remove it, V, and we can see we have our triangle 2 here. So you can design anything you want to design with the tools. This is beginning to look like a person's face, where we have the eye, the nose. Let me do this. Let me do this. Okay, let me do this. Sorry, just want to play around this a little bit. It's looking interesting. Okay, so we have the head, the eye, and the nose. Okay, so now we can come and add another thing again. We have the last one, or not the least, we have the polygon tool. We can come just like the polygon tool. If you click on it, to tell us how many number of sides of polygon do we want. We want number of sides to be 10 or 8. We want it to be 1000 by 1000. Click on OK, and we have it here. So we can come and Ctrl T to adjust it. Sorry, Shift and Alt to adjust it. So we can have it here. I can click on Ctrl J or Ctrl J to add, to have another shape here. It's looking more like Iman's face now. And the last tool I'll be talking about, you right click, is your, okay, sorry, before the last, we have our line tool. This line tool is used for drawing lines. So we come to our line tool, click on the line tool, then we can use it to draw any line we want to draw across the shape. But for it to be a straight line, you have to hold down your shift, so it's going to draw straight. Any direction you want to move it, it's going to draw shape in perfect angles, either 45 degrees, 0 degrees, or 90 degrees, or whatever degrees you want to work. So I draw the shape like this. Okay, and we can see that we can also increase the height of the shape. If I make it 20 or 50, it becomes very thick, right? And we can see that with this shape, we've been able to construct what looks like the face of a man, right? So if I zoom out, this is what our work looks like. Fits to screen. This is what our work looks like. All right, so with the shape tool, you can use it to construct so many things of your choice and whatever you want to do. All right, so we'll be going to the next one now, which is the final tool we're going to be talking about in the shape. It's called the custom shape tool. Now, Photoshop has some inbuilt custom shape tools. For earlier versions of like CS6 and below, we have lots of shapes like animals, exclamation mark, and objects and all that. But for upgraded version, there's none of those. If you come to the shape tool and come up here to where you have this shape and click on the shape, you will see the types and varieties that we have. We have wide animal. If you click on wide animal, we have varieties of wide animal. Let me pick this guy. Fine. If I pick this guy and hold down my shift and drag it, we have, that is an ostrich. Press my V to see we have an ostrich running. We have an ostrich running. So that is it. If you come back to press U for shortcut, come back here, close the wide animal, open, let's say flower. We have different flowers. You pick on one, and mind you, can we see that our T is having Oh, okay. I'll come back to talk about that. Now, let me control. Let me undo this. Let me undo this. Now, if we see that a layer is still selected, just like this is selected, and I click on a flower or a leaf I want to draw, and I hold down my shift, can we see that the cursor now has a plus sign? What does that plus sign mean? That plus sign means it's going to add that image to the same layer of the already selected image. So a very good practice when you want to draw layers upon themselves is to make sure you click on you press V and click on the canvas such that it's not highlighted and no layers are highlighted. Look at our layer now, no layer is highlighted. So you click on it before you go ahead and make your tool so that it doesn't add two images over each other. We can give this shape a very good blending and give it a very good gradient. Okay, and I think this gradient is beautiful, but maybe not too beautiful. I think flowers are more like red. So yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I'll take this. Let's leave it this way. So we have a very beautiful flower. Why this peacock is more like add a blending tool to it. Let me give it a drop shadow. Okay, it's black. It's also black. Okay, let me remove the drop shadow instead. We make it the way I emboss it. The way I emboss it. The way I emboss it. No need to emboss. No need to emboss. But let me just give it a gradient color. Not red. Not see this. Whatever. But we can just see how to manipulate our images and all that. So we have the image selected. So now this brings us to the end of shape tools. Make sure you practicalize as much as you have with this. Now next tutorial I'll be talking more about constructive design, how to make sure your design looks like a design. Thank you.